Hi everyone, I'm Bob Brown. I'm a Strategic Director with Sedgemoor District Council. I'm presenting this item with my colleague Paul Davidson, who's our Chief Digital Officer. Paul's a technical genius on all of this, so he'll be doing most of the presenting, and I like to think of myself as the Ernie Wise to Paul's Eric Morecambe.
Thank you, Bob. Yes, I'm Paul Davidson. Eric Morecambe would say that you can't see the join. Well, by the power of iMovie, we're going to give you the impression that we're making this video together at the same time and give you a slick double act run through of the progress that we've made at Sedgemoor District Council in our digital transformation.
Just a bit of context about Sedgemoor the place. Sedgemoor District Council is a district council in Somerset. We're a two-tier area, so there's a county council. There are 4 districts in the area. We have a population of about 121,000. We have an area of about 565 kilometres squared with 46,000 households. Our main town is Bridgewater, and we have an interesting politics with that because we're a mainly rural shire district, which is conservative in nature, so the majority of our councillors are conservative. But our main town, Bridgewater, is a Labour stronghold and is the area where most of our development takes place. The other thing to say about Sedgemoor is that being in Somerset, we're in the first tranche of local government reorganisation. The MHCLG have committed to undertaking some local government reorganisation in 3 areas, and Somerset is one of those that is chosen, and more on that later. As you can see from this slide, we have lots of services that we deliver as a district council. Not as many as county councils, and certainly not as many as unitary councils, but still lots of them, each of which will have their own system, and that brings challenges.
Well, yes, Bob, we've got a legacy system for each of these, and if not a system, a disconnected database or a set of spreadsheets. There's little point in trying to modernise our services one by one. We need an approach that brings the whole organisation forward and a holistic approach to serving our customers. Here is a link to our digital strategy. I'm assuming that you get the slides later. The organisational, process and technical transformation that we're going to discuss is designed to take us forward with these objectives. So it has to be better for the customer, so get more done online, make changes once and so on. It has to be better for the council too, so automation and self-service, together with digital tools for staff to get the job done. More and more, we need to collaborate with our partners and work towards a digital ecosystem for the place. And we need to unlock the value in our data, join that up with our partners, and make better decisions and interventions where we've seen the power of data in the COVID-19 outbreak.
Paul's talked to you about our digital transformation and our objectives and our vision in that regard. This slide sets out our overall objectives for our customer access programme and our transformation as a whole. So this is not necessarily just about our digital transformation, but this is about changing the whole organisation, and these are our 3 pillars, and I think this will be familiar to most of you in terms of transformation projects, because it's about having 3 elements: the people and the structure, the digital processes and standards, and our digital capabilities. And the 3 cogs as we know them are important to us because all 3 need to turn if you're going to change the organisation. You can't turn one at a time and hope to make significant change.
Looking briefly at the process improvement part of the programme, we have a process design manual, and we're happy to share that. See the link at the bottom of the slide. Having selected a theme, say freedom of information, we ask our design teams to work through these 5 phases. There is a gate for each phase, but apart from that, we leave the services alone to work through the manual and come up with their ideas. So the foundation phase sets the scope. The discovery phase does customer research and listens to other stakeholders. The alpha phase proposes new process maps and runs simulations to estimate cost savings. The beta phase builds whatever forms or casework is required and trials it, and the live phase launches the improved service and starts capturing metrics to show if it's working as expected.
This is a really important graphic from our point of view because it sets out how we build our teams and gives some detail as to how we go about making sure that that's service driven and not driven from the top. So this is not about imposed change. This is about putting services in charge of their own destinies in making the change that we need to transform the organisation. The key bits of this particular graphic that we call the alien baby is the bottom part, the stomach and the arms and the nappy, because all of those elements and all of those positions that are in there either come from the services themselves who are making the change, or from the support services that provide the technical assistance to drive through the change. The important bit is at the centre is the change agent who comes from the service and manages all those elements to make sure that the service is in charge of the change that they want to make. It is accountable to the head of the baby, but that is only about making sure that the actual process of change is on target and broadly in line with the parameters that have been set out in the design manuals.
This approach allows us to run lots of parallel projects and involve the whole organisation, so nobody feels left out. Here are the design teams that are running at the moment.
We've tried to align our digital capabilities to a cultural and structural change. The key bit here is the administration element, which means that we can relieve specialists and experts from some of the more mundane case management and administrative work. The other key bit about this approach is automation, and one of the things that we seek to do as we go through this is to move as much activity as we can into the automation area so that people can self-serve and do it themselves rather than having it mediated either by an administrator or a case officer. But nonetheless, by having case officers and administrators, we can move activity from specialists to those people and make savings in time and efficiency for the people who usually are at the more expensive end of the pay structure and relieving them of mundane and perhaps unnecessary administrative activity.
So that's organisation change and process improvement. Just the technology to get right. And back to all those systems that we have. Many of them have similar functions, so we could be repeatedly paying for the same thing, like document management or workflow or a reporting engine or a portal. But worse than that, all these systems mean that our staff can't be trained on them all, so the organisation design that Bob was talking about is limited, and with all that integration, we won't be able to give a joined-up service to our customers. So our solution is to say we don't want all these separate systems. We want a series of digital capabilities that we deploy once across the whole organisation and ultimately share with partner organisations and our customers. When we say digital capability, we're talking about features that can be used and reused to build each of the solutions that we need, like a box of Lego. We've run workshops at Sedgemoor to drive out what we need. We've defined 24 separate capabilities. So far, we've acquired 12 of them, so now we're working to complete the set. Here they are. The green ones we have, and the red ones we're looking for. We could spend half a day on each of these, so I won't now. We do have a 15-minute video that explains each one and how we expect them to work together. There's a link to the video at the bottom of this page. So, we believe that if we have a componentized solution to each of these, we can reinvent many of the separate back-office systems, databases, spreadsheets, and so on that are currently in the way of achieving our digital and customer objectives.
So I'm going to deal with the first part of this slide. Paul set out the capabilities that we've sought to acquire and the ones that we have acquired, and a number of firms have provided those. The mainstay has been provided by Granicus, as firm step as it was, to provide us with the e-forms, and we've also obtained process design capacity through the Engage system, which has been very successful. So Granicus have come in and assisted us with providing e-forms and some process management. We put over 200 forms onto our website, which I think has been a success, and it's been very good in terms of getting forms and advice to our customers on the COVID situation very quickly. So we've been able to stand up grants, applications, and other assistance, as well as shielding payments and other types of COVID assistance. We were less impressed, I think, with some of the capabilities that Granicus initially said that they could meet, and real-time reporting and other data management issues have not been as successful as we'd hoped. We are, however, looking to get some greater capacity on our digital capabilities to implement our overall vision through other procurements, and Paul will take you through those in a moment.
Well, right now, Bob, I've picked out 3 capabilities from the list, which we're focusing on right now. We're holding workshops at Sedgemoor to get the product definitions of these right. These are hyperlinks on the presentation because they link to Google Docs of those definitions, and we'd welcome comment and challenge to these. So I'll give you a flavour of what we're getting at on each one. We think that so many of our back office systems, databases, and the many spreadsheets that the transformation program finds can be replaced with a single generic case management solution. At best, we'd like the configuration and customization to be achievable by service managers who are encouraged to innovate rather than having to get in a queue for IT to do the work. We've seen some products that look encouraging for this. We don't know how far this type of tool can take us or how complex a system it could replace. We have plenty of spreadsheets and databases which this will work on, and we have domain-specific case management tools, say in legal or HR, which we think we could improve on. Our ambition is to move on to more complex systems once we've proven that this can work. Having a generic tool would give us a consistent approach to capacity management and skills-based routing and so on. These are the tools that we want to give staff and managers to bring about that change of organisational design that Bob was talking about earlier. We want customers to own and manage their relationship with the council and with other place partners. Can we build a digital place where the digital offer is seamless across organisations and institutions? If a customer signs in, they'll want to see their accounts and cases and create new cases or update an existing one. They'll want to tell us of a general change in their circumstances, say moving house, or give us information that we can act on immediately so that, for example, they get a new bill there and then. If they create a profile, a customer can expect that. We'll show them targeted information, such as who their counsellor is, and we'll alert them to information, such as a change in their bin day. So we'd like to provide as much personal information as possible and to believe the information that's given to us so that we can act on it straight away. However, that will depend on how certain we are that the customer is who they say they are. So much of this is about identity assurance that works across the place and reducing the burden of integration into lots of back office systems. Some credentials can only be used at the organisation's website that issued it. Worse still, where a council has many separate back office systems and portals, a customer may have to register more than once for the same organisation. A better approach is to get a credential that can be used by many organisations, particularly for place-level services which are responding to complex needs. The most useful solution is where a proper identity check is carried out and a two-factor credential issued that can be used at many partner sites. This federation leads to a trust framework across partner agencies. So we'd made some good progress in prototyping this with Verisec before the first lockdown, so we're looking forward to getting back to that. I also see that the Government Digital Service have announced that they are prototyping a GovUK account approach for central government services. We've arranged a session with them between recording this video and the conference, so we might be able to update you on that. The third capability that we're actively working on right now is registers. Now that's a term that Government Digital Service use. We mean building lists of things and using them to make links across accounts and cases. It's the single version of the truth, or the golden record. The most obvious lists we need are for people and businesses. That's not just those customers that have registered for an online account. We want to make joins across our services, serve customers holistically, and recognise patterns of vulnerability. We have the Land and Property Gazetteer, and that fits the need for a list of properties. But we want to extend this idea to anything that we might want to track across processes. For example, our recent fleet management project highlights that we have separate databases and spreadsheets for maintenance, inspections, insurances, etc., without a common list of vehicles. So that was some examples of how we are working to establish reusable digital capabilities. However, we do think there are some applications that will need to have special attention, those that can't just be configured and linked, in particular the revenues and benefits systems. Sedgemoor is one of 2 councils in the country to develop and operate in-house systems for revs and bends. The other is Calderdale. So, Bob, can you explain our plans for those and how they fit with this approach?
Our revenues and benefits systems are absolutely integral to our transformation process. The 3 systems are council tax, business rates and housing benefits, and all of them are big, high process services and systems that are complicated with it. They're in-house systems that we wrote in-house some 25, 30 years ago and have provided us with an excellent service that we're able to tailor to our customers well and make significant savings. So we need to ensure that we keep hold of those in-house systems, because to go outside would cost us a lot more. So in order to demonstrate to the council that we can rebuild systems onto the platform approach that we've suggested using those capabilities, we're rebuilding our revs and bends systems in line with our capability map and that approach. Obviously they're complicated systems, so the success of this will demonstrate that perhaps we can repurpose or rebuild using the platform other slightly more simple systems, because let's face it, most of the other systems, whether it's licensing or planning, are just glorified case management systems. I know the users may think they're more complicated than that, but in essence they're not. Revenues and benefits, however, are very different and have some very complicated business logic that needs to be got right.
So, Bob, you mentioned that this is open source, so I can explain our thinking on that. Well, we want to be disruptive, not just another product like the current market choices. We've had a good experience for 25 years running our in-house systems, but sustainability now comes from encouraging others to use them and building a wider community of practitioners and developers. We're building the business logic and data layers to be accessed as components via APIs rather than as a single system. So we want to accommodate local variations whilst having reliable core code. This has to fit with our own principles for standards and capabilities. So we're not building in any dependencies for other specific products. We're arranging a show and tell in December, so you'll be able to see where we've got up to.
Our context since we presented this item to you last year is the fact that local government reorganisation has now been announced for Somerset and that we are in the first tranche of local government reorganisation for the country. As districts, we've embraced this opportunity and have proposed to government that, in fact, we should be looking to abolish all the councils in Somerset and to create 2 new unitaries in Somerset, one on the east and one on the west. And as we put together the business case, which we're in the middle of doing to put to government, we're trying to put digital and an innovative digital offer at the heart of our business case. So far, we believe that other local government reorganisation offers made by Hampshire's and Dorset's and the others have not really taken the digital challenge. And we've secured the commitment and agreement of the other district councils to a digital vision that looks very much like that which we've set out for Sedgemoor, and that componentised and platform-based approach that will allow us to tear down some of the legacy systems and really be able to create a digital place based on the digital capabilities, allowing us to work with partners, share our data and make a difference to the communities in what we think is a distinctive way. And hopefully this will resonate with the government as it's in broadly, if not specifically in line with the digital declaration, and see us be able to develop on when the government gives us the go-ahead to create 2 new unitaries, to have a digital vision at the heart and build new authorities on a componentised digital approach, which will allow us to create a truly digital place. And Paul will tell you about how we take that opportunity and what others view of it.
Well, thank you, Bob. Much of what we've described so far scales up to support the digital place ambition well. So we've looked at our digital capability map and we've considered which of these could be a platform for the place rather than just for the council. We've already talked about identity assurance, shared casework, joined up registers, but this is also about that wider trust framework for role-based access, data sharing, and a combined view of vulnerability and so on. Our ambition is to extend our digital vision to all public services, including health, blue light services, housing associations, and so on. So we plan to set up a digital board to include local public sector agencies, but also voluntary and community bodies, industry champions, local academia, and of course the customer and business representatives. And that's about promoting the area as a place of innovation and coordinating the place-based activities towards smart digital solutions. Now, as we work with an extended range of partners, we won't be imposing a single set of products that must be used to be able to take part. Participation will be on the basis of open standards for connectivity and a trust framework that assures a consistent level of information governance. A digital place is not just for the public sector, it's for people and businesses too, so it should encourage participation in decision making and investment in local facilities and skills. Right, so we're currently working with Amazon Web Services to jointly publish a report which we expect to have in December. We're calling it Cloud Services for a Digital Place to validate the capabilities that we've defined. Now, this isn't about one product over another or one cloud over another. Rather, it's about promoting a set of standards and inviting industry to come forward with cloud services that meet those standards to encourage innovation and choice.
Thanks for listening to our presentation. We hope you found it of interest, and we're happy to take any questions that you may have.